guys, welcome to another episode of Who Done It Now. We're going to take a quick look at domestic terrorism and what that really means. So what's the definition of a terrorist? A terrorist is a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. That's the formal definition of a terrorist. But this is not the definition of a domestic terrorist, so let's keep going. Okay, the CIA definition of terrorism. The CIA defines terrorism as the calculated use of violence or threats to achieve political goals, creating fear and coercion, often involving symbolic criminal acts targeting a wider audience beyond immediate victims to influence governments or populations. It involves political motivated violence, often against non-combatants, by sub-state groups, aiming to intimidate or coerce civilian populations to influence government policy or conduct. So that's the CIA definition of terrorism, but that's still not domestic terrorism. So what is domestic terrorism? Domestic terrorism is defined by the FBI as violent criminal acts committed by individuals or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences such as political, religious, social, racial, or environmental issues. These acts occur within the U.S. without foreign direction, aiming to intimidate civilians or influence government policy. And now we're learning that those people who protest against a violation of what's happening with our civil liberties are being put on a list as domestic terrorists.
Advocates and some lawmakers are sounding the alarm on the privacy risks of federal agents using surveillance toolkits during immigration enforcement operations.
Yeah, armed with facial recognition on their smartphones and professional camera gear, ICE agents are actually photographing the faces of the people they encounter during their daily operations. So it's all setting a new precedent for street-level surveillance and raising a lot of new privacy concerns.
NBC News AI fellow Jared Perlow joins us now with this story. Good morning, Jared. And Jared, your article this morning reveals how these ICE agents are using these tactics during their interactions, their daily interactions with both possible targets and also the people, the citizens who are observing all of this, right? What's happening out there and how is it different today, how they're using these tools?
Well, so I think it's important to realize that facial recognition itself is not new. We've had this technology for decades. Many people use it, millions of people use it every day when they open up their smartphone or when they go through TSA. But what's happening now with ICE and Border Patrol officers seems like an incredibly new phenomenon in decently scary ways, according to the people we talk to. So it seems like there's two different ways they're using it. One, they're using a new app called Mobile Fortify from the Department of Homeland Security. And this app basically allows officers on their smartphone to determine somebody's citizenship status. So we've seen this happen, or we've heard reports of this happening in Minneapolis, for example, where ICE agents will go up to an individual, they'll ask about that person's citizenship status. If they don't have papers on them or documents proving their citizenship, then they can then scan a photo of that person's face using this app, and it will run through its algorithm and determine whether that person is a citizen or not. The other way that we've seen this facial recognition technology being used is to take pictures of observers. So we've talked to people in Minnesota and in Maine who went out to observe ICE. They were at a gas station in some cases. They were looking at what the ICE agents were doing. Then the officers took pictures of them and in some cases said that their photo was going into a database potentially of domestic terrorists. So
based off of those definitions, who's really practicing terrorism? And more importantly, will Christians be termed terrorists as these things continue to unfold? And if so, are you ready?